This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Don't you do it. You're going to be tempted to do it. Don't you do it. I don't even know who I was impersonating there.
I think you were impersonating...
It was George Bush. It started out a little bit.
It started out as Dana Carvey's George Bush, which is very different from the actual George Bush.
And it had tinges of a bad Jerry Lewis, so...
Is there any other kind? This is Wretched Radio. Millennials want to ban Secret Santa because it gives them anxiety. Don't do it. Do not do it. Was listening to my earbuds at the gym. You could probably tell I spend a fair amount of time there. The only reason I spend a fair amount of time at the gym is because I'm so slow at doing anything there. I will just take forever between what they call sets. You pick it up, you put it down. It seems so fruitless. Nevertheless, I've got my earbuds in, and I'm listening to the Spotify. This is a music service, and I don't know what they charge per month, where you can actually fast forward through the songs. While I am so tempted by that, I can't bring myself to spend the $4.99 or the $9.99. They give you 5 changes. So every time you listen, if you don't like a song that comes on, you can press next, but you can only do that 5 times, and then it stops, and you have to listen to what they present you. As frustrating as that is, I refuse to bend the knee to the Spotify machine. So I'm listening to it, and a commercial will come on because I don't pay the, $7.99, whatever it is. And I'll do a dramatic recreation of the commercial. And this is not intended. I'm not trying to set this up as a joke, and I'm not trying to make this gotcha or an aha. Just the opposite. Believe me, just the opposite. But it's several voices, youthful voices, saying something like, checking into work, doing the time card thing at the work, can be so exhausting. It's like, I just want to go home before I even get to work. Yeah, well, I'd fill out a sick day form, but man, it's so difficult. And yeah, how's about filing for insurance? And something like that, where the presentation is for that these particular people. And even though part of it is a spoof, nevertheless, there's enough of a foot in reality that there's some validity to what they're saying, that for some people in this particular generation, a lot of stuff can be exhausting. Punching into work, filling out a sick day form. Who can endure such trials as that? And while you might hear that and whip out the old nasty name calling of snowflake or whatever it is that they're calling, and it's going both ways with the boomer and snowflake business, why don't, instead of jumping on to the obvious bandwagon and maybe having a sense of pride that our generation is so much more hardworking than their generation, we're so much tougher than they are, may or may not be true, who cares? But how's about we learn about them from this? How's about that? I got to tell you, I keep thinking about this, and I'm challenged in this, and I would challenge you in the same regard, because I don't think there's any one of us who have a handle on the whole shebang we call life and contemporary reality. But as we see all of these stories, all right, now for instance, I got them here someplace. Trust me, I've got them. Don't forget, Wretched Radio, the most organized radio program on this station at this time. Okay, I've got them right here. This is what's going on. Oh, by the way, this is a crazy story and an update. Do you remember I shared with you that a man who believes he's a woman went into one of these places where women go, I guess, to get different waxes? Yep. And he insisted on having a Brazilian wax, which apparently is a rather intimate sort of affair that they do. And he went to a bunch of those places or sent emails, wanted to set up appointments, and none of them would take it. And so he tried to sue them. This was in British Columbia, I believe. And I said that he actually won the case. It turns out that it was determined, no, this was just a recent ruling. I was informed that he had actually won a case. He had not. It was determined, no, they do not have to do that because they are not instructed how to deal with males instead of females for this particular waxing procedure. Nevertheless, doesn't it demonstrate just where we're at as a culture? In this particular update, when I saw this, there was also a picture of this man who thinks he's a woman. And you would look at it and you would know immediately that this is somebody with clear challenges. obvious issues. Okay, we can laugh at it. I get that. And we can mock it and we can snowflake it, or they're just nuts. But isn't there more? Can't we get more as Christians? Can't we bring something a little deeper to it? I'd like to think that we can. There's just story after story. There's in Manchester. This one is in Great Britain. Everybody's upset. The parents are upset because there's a girl who thinks she's a boy. She wants to change in the locker room. No, this is the elementary school. I can't keep them all straight. This is the elementary school where you can use whatever bathroom that you want. Yeah, here it is. Manchester school bathroom policy for transgender student upsets parents. They're upset because a child who was born a boy but identifies as a girl is being allowed to use the girls' bathroom. This is elementary school. No one was told in the community. Woo! I can understand why those parents might be a little annoyed. Now, again, this is the obvious stuff. Here's the letter from the Dr. Teresa Gremo, the superintendent of the Manchester Community Schools. Quote, transgender students must be allowed to use the restroom and locker rooms that corresponds with their gender identity. And so, despite the way that they were clearly born physically, if they think otherwise, that's what they are, and that's the locker room or the restroom that they have to use. Manchester Community Schools accommodates any student who is uncomfortable with such practices by providing an alternate facility to use. Well, now there's the low-hanging fruit for us. How ridiculous. So the kids who are behaving in reality with what they are, if they're upset by the girl who thinks she's a boy using their showers, they have to go to a private bathroom. Yep. Not the kid with the issue, but the ones with the issue with the person with the issue. Is this insanity? Well, of course it is. What is the cure for insanity? What is the corrective for crazy? And instead of just, which I know it's easy to do and been there, done that, still do that. But this should at least remind us this world is demonstrating what it looks like to be Lord of the Flies, to be without authorities, specifically the authority of God. This is Romans 1. What is the cure? Why is Romans 1 at the beginning of the book? Because it demonstrates through the next 15 chapters the cure for crazy, the cure for bad thinking, the cure for this insanity that is going on in our civilization. And so we should see these things, and I understand the consternation, I understand the frustration, but we need to see this and be motivated. We got to get the gospel to these people. How miserable must they be? If we're seeing this type of thinking in public, what are they thinking in private? This is a world that is ripe to hear the good news of the gospel. And so now we hear about millennials want to ban Secret Santa because it gives them anxiety. Okay, not something that we should be using to bash them with, but something that should motivate us to help them, shouldn't it? British job hunting website JobSite reported that millennials find the Secret Santa gift exchange to be anxiety-inducing. A psychology lecturer at the university in Salford in Manchester believes it is the fear of appearing stingy that makes the holiday tradition stressful. Okay, so there's another lie that they're believing. So they give a gift. What's happening with a lot of these young people, they're afraid to look stingy, so they spend money they don't have. They go into greater debt, and that causes them to be depressed. Well, at the root of that is a lie. That it matters what anybody thinks about your gift. That's just a lie. That's not how we find our security in the world. I'm secure because of Christ. I'm in Christ. I'm secure. Who cares what the peasants think when the king says, I approve of you because of my son. I love you. You're mine. Okay, now I can go to Secret Santa. They just need this truth. They don't need a mocking. They need truth. This from the latest study. Everything is being rethought. 4 in 10 millennials now say they are religiously unaffiliated. Hark the voice of Jesus crying, who will go and work today? Fields are white and harvest waiting, who will bear the sheaves away? Take it away, Tony.
I have no idea.
Loud and long the master calleth, rich reward he offers thee. Something like that. I'm not sure what pitch that was. Who will answer gladly, saying, here am I. Let's mock 'em, let's mock 'em. 2016 Pew Research Center study found that regardless of the religion, those raised in households in which both parents shared the same religion still identified with the faith in adulthood. That's cool, but guess what? A lot of people are breaking up, and these days, so many parents are divided even though they share the same address, and kids feel abandoned, and they're not following the faith of their father and their mother, and they are leaving the faith that they never owned in the first place. And now you and I, we get to work with them, we get to meet them in the streets, we bump into them at the grocery store, and we have a choice. Make fun, condescend, bemoan, or love them and share the truth with them. This is Wretched Radio.
Behold a world without Wretched. Please become a gospel partner